This is the Ishi Weekly, the discipline of determined intent. I am Gareth Holebrook. Thought that leads to action, action that is thoughtful. In this podcast, I will explore the Ishi spiral through the lens of an ultra-endurance athlete, leadership coach, engineer, and farmer. The first few episodes will be excerpts from the book, the autobiographical sections, talking about Ironman, Coast to Coast, and other races I've taken part in. Enjoy. Shotokan, form under constraint. I train in two very different groups. One is the North Harbour Triathlon Club. I have been a member for over 20 years and now serve as president. The club has nearly 200 athletes. I've trained alongside Olympians and world-class Ironman competitors. Some are younger and faster, some are older and still turning up. One stalwart, Garth Barfoot, is 90 years old and still racing. On race day, there are athletes in my age group I only see twice, at the start line and at the finish. Working alongside athletes like this lifts your standards. You become the average of the people around you. It normalises effort. It sharpens intent through proximity. In club training, the mood is light. There are jokes, banter, and laughter between sets. On long rides, the social element matters as much as the physiological one. I am not wired that way, but I respect it. A happy athlete is often a fast athlete, and that culture works in triathlon, and especially in our club. The other group is my karate dojo. There the mood is different. We bow when we enter. We bow to the sensei, the sempai, and each other. Sometimes we sit in mokuso, a brief meditative stance and stillness before movement. Once a session begins, there is no conversation. The dojo permits only one word, us. It means acknowledgement, acceptance, and humility. I train under Sensei Carl Naroji, a 7th Dan Shotokan instructor with more than 45 years of practice behind him. He is precise, demanding, and intolerant of sloppiness. Corrections are immediate and specific: foot angle, hip rotation, timing, and breath. If something is wrong, it is corrected until it is no longer wrong. There is no workaround. Karate breaks into 3 practices: Kihon, Kata, and Kumite. Kihon are the fundamental strikes, blocks, and kicks repeated endlessly. Stance work, transitions, and breathing are all observed and corrected. Kata are formalized set sequences, each with a name and a fixed structure. There are 26 in Shotokan, and they range from 28 to 62 movements each. Every movement has a bunkai, an application that explains how the moves work in practice. Each kata is compressed combat logic rather than choreography. Practice slowly and deliberately, step by step. It rewires movement. Kumite is controlled sparring, constrained exchange rather than free fighting. It is precision under pressure. Distance, timing, and control are all assessed. None of this is especially good for my aerobic fitness. In fact, since returning seriously to karate after completing Kona in 2022, my endurance numbers have dipped. Hip mobility has been a constant battle. Flexibility is often a constraint in your 6th decade. Even in my teens as a long-distance runner, I wasn't exactly a gymnast. In 2025, as I worked towards Shodan, black belts, my overall endurance training volume dropped. That trade-off was deliberate. Shugyo prioritizes refinement over fitness. I see the same principle in swimming. Former elite swimmer Hayden Woolley gives me one-on-one swim coaching using video analysis. Technique faults that have crept in over the years are exposed brutally on screen. A crossed arm in the catch, a dropped elbow. Fixing them means slowing down, sometimes losing speed entirely, while new neural patterns are laid down. Off-season work often feels like regression, but it is in fact rewiring. Stephen Farrell, head coach of the North Harbour Triathlon Club for the past 30 years, and a long-time friend, puts it perfectly. Do not practice until you get it right. Practice until you cannot get it wrong. Those sentences capture Shugyo better than most definitions. Deliberate practice is uncomfortable because it removes the illusion of competence. It strips away momentum and replaces it with attention. It demands constraints, fewer reps, slower movements, narrower focus. It is also deeply unfriendly to the ego. I noticed the contrast at lunchtime swim squads at the tepid baths in Auckland City, where I have trained for over a decade. I often shared a lane with Mark, a strong and seasoned athlete who had also raced at Kona in the 1990s. We would alternate leading. Between sets there was always a brief conversation about work, races, or the training set. I sometimes wanted to keep moving, to stay inside the work, but I also enjoyed the exchange and did not want to be rude. A few months ago I read that Mark had taken his own life. He had been struggling for years. None of us knew. He was competent, successful, healthy, engaged. Looking back, I wish I'd stayed longer at that wall sometimes. Not to fix anything, but just to listen. Karate is where I feel the forged phase of the Ishi spiral most clearly. Intent has already been set. What happens here is the embodiment. Practice is where intent becomes physical, where sloppiness is removed, where habits are either sharpened or exposed. In my book, I define Shugyo more precisely. I explain how it fits inside the Ishi spiral and why it must rotate with both Ishi and Gaman. Shugyo is the discipline of making intent real in the body. Thanks for listening to the Ishi Weekly. Please subscribe and find more content on Substack and YouTube. Ishi, the discipline of determined intent, is available on Amazon and Kindle.